Good morning, CEO. It's Friday, the second Friday of the fourth quarter, and we have been very intentional about moving the needle in our business to reach our fourth quarter income goals. And yesterday I spoke briefly about follow-up and the importance of follow-up. And one of the comments I received, I want to share with the group because it's an awesome discussion in mindset, right? And how our mindset and really capturing it, observing it, and dissolving anything that's limiting us. Hi, Jerry. Good morning. Anything that's limiting us in our thoughts, in our nervous system, in our emotions, and in any connected traumas is stopping us from moving the needle in our business. So thank you so much for the comments because this is an awesome opportunity to address the mindset that we need to be doing as a CEO. So some of the thoughts that were coming up for one person and maybe many more people, and she was courageous enough to comment, thank you so much, regarding follow-up included, good morning, Carmelita, how are you? Included, when I think about following up, I think thoughts like, they don't like me, that's why I haven't heard from them, and I'm reading on my computer. Another thought is, if I reach out, they'll know I'm just trying to drop a hint because they didn't buy my program. Another thought is, I know they're busy and I'd just be annoying them. Another thought, I don't want to make them feel guilty for not buying from me. Another thought, they're already ashamed that they can't afford it and nudging them would just rub their nose in it. Another thought, I'd feel like I was coercing them into buying something they didn't want. If they actually wanted it, I wouldn't have to chase them around, chase them down to sell it to them. All right. So essentially what she's saying, to sum it up, is I feel like leaving them space to come to me on their own is saving them from having to be rude or from feeling guilty about saying no. So they can continue to feel like they're nice people. Because don't we all want to think that about ourselves? Okay, so what's happening here? You know, in the mindset world, good morning, Victoria, we talk about limiting beliefs. Everything that's being said here is more than a limiting belief. Yes, is it limiting the amount of business you can do if you choose not to follow up? Absolutely. Absolutely it is limiting you. But what we're seeing here is stronger than a limiting belief. It's actually a vow. It's a vow. It's a vow of invisibility. It's a vow of holding on to, it's the result of a collapsed core, which is your power center. It's been collapsed. Now that's the part of you that develops from the time you are 18 months old to 4 years old. So it's an old vow, right? And connected to that vow, the demon of that vow is shame. It's shame or embarrassment or guilt. And when you can't own your power, you are immediately in a disempowered state. Now, a vow is so much stronger than a belief. It's almost like a super belief because it not only is touching on, do I belong? Is it safe here for me? Do I belong here? Do I belong in this space? Can I interrupt them by following up? Oh, I don't belong. This doesn't feel safe. It's also, on the other side of that, is an absolute refusal. It's a refusal. I will not follow up. I will not speak up. I am going to be a nice girl in this case, right? I'm not going to be rude. I'm not going to make them feel uncomfortable. So I absolutely refuse to speak up or follow up, even if I know that this is going to move the needle in my business. And it is something that to the people, and trust me, I was one of these people. I was an extreme people pleaser, So the people who are feeling this, it doesn't feel limiting. It just simply feels true. It just simply feels true. And it's something that you've been holding on to since your terrible twos, when you started to experiment with autonomy, right? You were no longer you had been hatched from your mother, and now you're starting to explore your languaging, starting to explore your willpower, starting to explore your own personal power. And what you learned from the time you were in your twos, if your will was broken repeatedly, then what happens is you make a vow to protect yourself, to absolutely refuse to push the needle forward because it doesn't feel safe, and this definitely has to be broken. Now, this is something that you've had that's been developing in you since the time you were 18 months old to 4 years old, so it's a very old vow. So, you know, the first thing to do is to observe it. Okay, this is happening, and trust and believe it is not just happening in your money. It is happening in every single area of your life. You are making yourself invisible or small to please others, or to appease what you perceive to be other people's perceptions of you. Right? It's happening in your relationships. It's happening in your money. It's happening in your career. It's happening in your health. You are putting yourself last, and you're absolutely refusing to stand in your power. And it just simply feels like, yeah, that's true. It doesn't trigger you. It doesn't rub you. It just feels true. So observing it is one thing. When you think about being the CEO in your business, think about the traits that if you were hiring a CEO for your business, what traits would you want them to have? Would you want them not to know that your product and your service is so amazing it practically cures cancer, whatever the cancer is in somebody else's life, right? If you had the cure, the little cure for cancer, wouldn't you want to share that with people? Well, taking a look at your business, taking a look at your services, taking a look at the products that you sell, and it doesn't matter what it is, right? It could be credit repair, it could be travel services, it could be coaching, it could be selling experiences for other people. That's curing a cancer in someone else's life. It could be natural health care products, weight loss products, whatever it is, right? It's curing something for somebody else. It's helping somebody move from pain to pleasure. When you really grasp onto that, when you really hold on to that, because I know that the people in this group are not just trying to sell anything for selling's sake. No. We're good people. We're good people, right? Who own a business, and we are, yes, Jerry, a vow of invisibility. We're good people, and we are marketing ourselves with integrity. We're not spamming. We're not gimmicky. So there's no reason to hide behind this wall of embarrassment or shame for what we have and what we have to offer, right? So one suggestion that I would give is write down all the ways that your coaching or your product or your services, whatever it is, that that you market, how it helps other people. And sit in that space, put it on your calendar, sit in that space, even if it's only for 90 seconds, 90 seconds to 3 minutes, and do that 5 times a day. Put it in your calendar, give yourself a Google alert, right? To sit in the space of, I'm curing cancer, and just feel the expansiveness of that. Feel the expansiveness of that. Allow yourself to feel the power of that. And it might mean moving yourself out of the way. And by moving yourself out of the way, the part of self that I'm talking about is that inner critic and that ego, right? That's saying, no, I absolutely refuse. I absolutely refuse. Just let it shift over to the side and allow yourself to feel what it feels to be empowered with the knowingness that what I bring to the table helps other people. Okay? Another way, and you know it's my favorite modality, is tapping. Now, we're talking about a vow, this super belief, right? That you've been holding on to since you were between 18 months, 2 years old, and 4 years old. And it has just developed as you've developed, right? Not allowing you to be autonomous. It really triggers the good girl, good boy thing, right? That we start thinking, bringing on feelings of shame, waves of shame and embarrassment when you think about stepping out as your powerful self because your will had been broken time and time again, right? Your will had been broken time and time again. Doesn't mean necessarily that you had abusive parents. It just means that no was resounding. It was a resounding no. You had to follow the rules, be obedient, right? Always listen, be obedient, and could not really experience what autonomy felt like. On the flip side, there were some people who were given absolutely no boundaries whatsoever, and that wasn't safe either, right? So they also can feel this disempowered state more often than not. So when tapping, because it's something that's a super belief that you've held on to that just feels true, it almost feels like, I don't even know why this would even be a big deal, right? It almost feels like that. Well, it is a big deal because it's stopping you from making money. And I don't just mean money. I'm talking about devastating loss of income that should be in your pocket. That's not, because you're making yourself invisible, okay? That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about money. Not just money, but money, okay? So we're going to stop leaving it on the table. But the way to do this gently, particularly if you're doing it by yourself and not through the guidance of a coach like me, is to, as you're tapping, these beliefs that feel really true, when you start reducing the stress behind it and say something like, to move to the other side of it, say something like, and I'm open to healing this, rather than saying, and I'm open to healing this, because that all systems are going off like, yeah, no, I'm not, because this just feels true. This feels like it's keeping me safe. Say something like, and I'm open to healing this by, and name a percentage, and it can even be by 1%, 10%, or 20%, and just do that daily. And let the compound benefits of daily tapping start to shift this for you, start to dissolve this vow of invisibility for you. There are compound benefits, and before you know it, you're going to be showing up as a very different, empowered version of you. When you think about your income goals and the income goal that you've set for the fourth quarter and the income goal that you are setting for 2020, just know that the woman who is making that amount of money is a very different version of you. You're still you, but you're a different version of you. And you know what's missing? The guilt, the shame, the fear, and the doubt. All right? So I am wishing you all a great weekend. And, you know, if you haven't set an income goal yet, or you've set an income goal and over the last 2 weeks you don't see that the needle is moving in the right direction, or in the last 2 weeks you don't see that the needle is moving fast enough for you, I invite you to book a customized income goal assessment with me, one-to-one, $1. Books your session. I'll drop the link in the comment box below. Together we will take a look at what is stopping you right now from reaching that income goal, and some of the things that we uncover may be some vows that you've held tight to that just feel so natural to you right now and so much like truth that you couldn't even think that this is actually limiting you. And that's what I do. That's my specialty. All right, I'm Keisha Dixon. CEOs, enjoy your day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.